Welcome. You are listening to the podcast A Resonant Life, produced by The Time Is Now Productions. I am Mike Thompson, your host and Reflector-in-Chief. In this podcast, we will discuss experiences and insights from living a life devoted to uncovering the authentic self and finding fulfilling purpose from the past, the present, and the future. This podcast is a product of my life and experience, and I'll share my opinions. Opinions between people are various, and we don't all need to hold the same ones. But it is fun to hear the opinions of others as it gives us an opportunity to freshen up our own. If you enjoy and gain insight from listening, please subscribe and share. If you have questions, please email them. And as always, nothing you hear here is a proscription or a prescription. It is a discussion of life and life's internal and external experiences. So let's get to it. Welcome again. And thank you for joining me in a discussion of uncovering our authentic selves and charting a course in our lives that will result in abiding happiness, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. And this is episode 20. To me, this feels like a milestone, and I want to do a little happy dance to celebrate. But my happy dance is a little embarrassing, and so probably I'll wait till later to do that. So let's get right to the topic of discussion for today. The topic today that we're going to talk about is confession and repentance. Yeah, okay. So those two words are wildly loaded and I guess toxic. They're toxic words. They're conversation stoppers, especially for those who've had them used as weapons against them. That said, in our spiritual lives, it is very difficult to move forward, to deepen our practice and open our hearts fully if we are carrying around unresolved negativity and denying responsibility for any harms or hurts we've caused others throughout the course of our lives. In the Buddhist view, these negativities, these hurts and harms, they're negative karma. They're the negative actions of body, speech, and mind, and thus they keep us tethered and tied, limiting our ability to really expand our capacity to be open and joyful people living with sustained and abiding happiness. And it is important to realize that when we create negative karma for ourselves, most likely we are creating negative karma for others. They will react negatively to our negative actions. The people that we're causing negative karma to, they will react negatively. So as they react negatively, they're creating their own negative karma. So we've been the cause. It's a chain reaction. We've talked about the virtuous circle where good begets good, positivity creates more positivity. This, on the other hand, is a negative circle. It's a spiral of negative karma that spreads like a disease. And we bear the responsibility for all of that. So beyond what we do today or have done just yesterday, the weight of long past hurts and harms we carry it's like a psychic crust which affects our actions in the present. It's like muscle memory. Negativities beget more negativity. Snark invites more snark. Insult prepares the ground for more insult. And selfishness reseeds our hearts and mind with more selfishness. So you get the point. Negative spiral. And in this sense, our interactions with others can be less loving, less kind and generous, less than we intend at least. The lens of negativity can warp how we interact with others and act and move in our lives. How we engage our families, our communities, our workplaces. So in truth, don't we want all the people in our lives to feel loved, to feel cared for, valued, to feel cherished? Don't we want all of our words, our thoughts, our actions to be ones that help, that support, that lift up those around us, that lift them up as we lift others? As we lift others, so are we ourselves lifted. I was talking with a friend the other day, and he mentioned he would be having lunch with another mutual acquaintance after a long time of not seeing each other. And my response was, I've always found that person to be difficult to be around. My friend was suddenly silent for what became an uncomfortable amount of time. And in that silence, which, like I said, seemed to stretch for quite a long time, in that I realized that what I'd said, that I found our acquaintance difficult to be around, that was a harm. It was a harm of speech. A harm of speech I caused. How is it a harm? How is it a cause of hurt? How is it negative karma? Most obviously, I was speaking negatively about someone else. Even if it was couched in my experience of being with them, even if I was a bit clever about it, it was still negative. And what possible good or positivity comes from sharing that? Does it make my friend whom I'm speaking with feel better? Not a bit. In fact, it can actually hurt him. And he let me know this through his silence. Does it make me feel better to say something negative about someone else? No. How could it, other than if I were to take pleasure from casting negativity on another? And I don't want to be a person who takes pleasure in trashing others. And is it even a hurt to the person whom I was referring? Yes. Yes. How? How though? They're not there. They didn't hear it. Well, it means that I'm not going to be in a positive, open, and giving state of mind and heart when I'm next with them. Add to that my negativity, my negative comment could get back to them. Negative words are like viruses. They spread, they mutate, they infect. Frankly, I was horrified with myself, to be honest. I was not walking the walk. I was not walking the talk. I was not living a resonant life with those comments. I was not being altruistic. I was not being kind in any way. It's so easy to step down. Maybe it's falling down. It's easy to step or fall down from the pedestal of high-minded aspirations. It's so easy to cause hurt and harm. The moment we're not thinking, not being intentional, the moment that we are not being intentional, which is most of the time, it is those times when we hurt, when we cause hurt. It is then that we cause harm, no matter how minor. That's when we create negative karma. And unfortunately, that's most of our waking lives. So looking at this realization, this reality and truth, that we spend exponentially more time creating negative karma than we do creating positive karma, this is overwhelming. And it's a depressing and defeating realization. At least it is if we aren't using the remedy, the antidote. And there is a remedy. There is an antidote. There is a practice by which we can purify, by which we can reverse the negativity and replace it with positivity, with positive karma, with merit. And this is what we've been working on. This is our project to uncovering the authentic self, becoming more intentional, more focused on positivity, more energy spent being altruistic, more time being awake and aware of what we're doing, what we're saying, and what we're thinking. Harnessing the wild, stampeding horses of our mind, being intentional more and more and more of our waking moments. And to do this, we've been using mind hacks, we've been using meditations and intentional practices of action to do this. And as always, we use the recognition of making a so-called mistake to not beat ourselves up, but rather to stop, wake up, and then act positively. A mistake realized is a treasure, especially if it's realized in the moment, like my mistake was in my conversation with my friend. It is a treasure because we can stop right there and fix it, correct it, apply the remedy and the antidote. And now you're wondering, what is the remedy? What is the antidote? Well, I shared that remedy and antidote at the very beginning of our discussion today. Confession, repentance. Okay, we can certainly find better words. Those are toxic. We can find less toxic words and work with them, right? So let's use owning and remedying. Okay? Now, I am a work in progress. I am nowhere near complete. As a work in progress, I make mistakes. I make errors. I cause misunderstandings. I hurt others with my words. I create a lot of negative karma. But I am trying to awaken, to uncover my authentic self and be a help to others 100% of the time. I'm trying. And so I do my best to use the antidote. I own my mistakes as much as I can. When I become aware of them, I own them. I admit to myself, I did this. I made this happen. I caused this. I caused someone to be hurt. Hurt or sad or angry or upset. Me, my words, my actions, driven by my thoughts. This is what I did when I was talking to my friend. I broke the long silence by saying, yeah, I guess that isn't a very nice thing to say or think, is it? I owned it in that moment. And then I apologized. I made amends. And then I went one step further. I thanked him for helping me to see myself making a mistake. He was like a mirror, and I got to watch myself thoughtlessly and mindlessly birth a negativity into the world. Completely unnecessary to say what I said. Completely. To even think and feel what I was thinking and feeling about that person. It was unnecessary. So now do you see how my train of thought is working in all of this? How I'm unwinding the stream of events and reactions? I am full on the highway of mind hacks right now. So here's the chain. I owned, I made amends, and then I expressed and felt gratitude. Gratitude for being able to stop and correct. And then zooming the lens back, I'm looking at how I feel negatively about a person and asking myself, why? Boom, there's another trigger. Why am I feeling negative? This is a trigger to apply a mind hack. So thinking of this person who made me think negatively, who made me say something negative, okay, let's override that. Let's think of this person with compassion. So I'm using the awareness of me thinking negatively about him to change the negativity into a positive. Let's think about him with compassion. Let's think of this person as someone we can support, someone we can assist, someone we can be kind to at the very least. I'm doing this, digging in and going deep, and I can feel my heart expand, to open. This won't be the last time I say a gossipy, snarky thing about someone to someone else. I'm human, but catching those moments, fishing for snark, say, just fish for that snark, catching them, stepping back, looking at them, and seeing where they come from, owning them, making amends, converting the snark to something positive, then allowing gratitude to fill me. Gratitude for being able to do this exercise, to clean up my mess and do something positive instead. So that's a way to live differently in the present. But we still carry around with us the weight and toll of past negative karma, of past harms, hurts, wounds, ills that we've caused others from years ago. So Buddhists emphasize this negative karma is not only from this life, it's inclusive of all infinite previous lives. That's a lot of bad stuff hanging around our necks. It's a bit overwhelming and depressing. So that we don't get overwhelmed and bogged down thinking about that, let's focus on this life. This is the life we've got. This is the life we can really work in. So the past we presently carry with us, right? We're going to focus on this life and the past, the recent past of this life. If we do this, the rest will start to sort itself out. Past life, whatever. So how do we own and make amends for negative actions, words, and thoughts from our past? There are two basic methods in Buddhist practice. The first is to set aside time, routinely, daily. Set aside time and reflect. This is a meditation. Reflect on our past dislikes and the people who were connected to them. Recall the things we did or said to people we didn't like, or whom we thought of as enemies, or competitors, or opponents. Try to grab something from your memory. Then think about it. Think about everything that happened, everything that transpired, everything you did, you said, you thought. You get the picture, right? And one by one, do maybe one per meditation, one by one, step by step. Bring the incident to mind. Bring the person to mind. And in that quiet moment of sitting in memory, reflect on the negativity and then apologize. This is part of the meditation. Apologize in the meditation. This is making amends. It's a meditative exercise. If the people you recall in this exercise, if they're still around, if they're still in your life, you can certainly engage with them directly, individually, and own and make amends in person. But maybe that isn't always wise or appropriate. You will know. If the opportunity is there, do it. If not, it's fine to do it in meditation. It's fine to do it in your mind. The outcome of this meditation of owning and making amends for past hurts, it's to scrub clean that negative karmic dust that holds you back or holds you down. Your heart and mind will be relieved and grow lighter, and you'll feel more open the more you do this, the more often you do it. There will be a tendency, though, remember though, keep in mind, when you pull this stuff up in your memory, there will be a tendency to justify, to explain, to highlight circumstances, to, oh, I did that because of this, I'm not really responsible, or I didn't really mean to, and this was caused by that, and you said this, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Our minds are gold medal gymnasts when it comes to avoiding responsibility. So the key is to own it, all of it. Don't fight it. Just accept and own unconditionally, without exception or excuse. Then make amends. Feel regret for hurting, for harming. Feel regret for doing something that caused someone else sadness or disappointment. We don't really want to cause sadness or disappointment in others, do we? Okay. I said there were two basic methods. The other method is action, taking literal action. And this is so important and critical to the whole exercise. Action is the reagent, the element that makes the whole practice light you up and purify your negativities and negative karma. The first step of this exercise, the meditation, isn't effective without action backing it up. without action pushing it forward, without action taking it out of the mind and putting it into reality. Action. Here it is. Do good things. Do concrete, kind things intentionally, over and over, again and again. And do them with intention. The intention of your kindness is to purify, to make amends. You are aware that you've caused pain or hurt or harm in the past, but you are now trying to purify it, to turn it into positives that will help you help others even more. You're creating a force multiplier. So do kind, generous, helpful, sweet, thoughtful things for others. And do them with the heart and mind of purifying, of owning and making amends. Do it with your full intention and attention. It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of attention. But the net effect is one where you find your life brighter, fuller, and you yourself more optimistic and happier. More importantly, you'll become a kinder, more generous person, step by step, action after action, kind word after kind word, generous thought after generous thought. Mistakes can become a burden if we let them sit and fester. Or they can trigger positive actions of body, speech, and mind. Since we're going to make them, no matter how hard we try to be perfect, let's use these mistakes to purify our negativities, to wash our hearts and minds clean, and to move forward on our journey, this wonderful path of uncovering the authentic self. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have something to take away and to work on and to make efforts to make your life better and the life of all those around you better, and to be a force of peace in this world. Thank you very much. Take care.